I'll call the city council meeting to order. It is 5 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Anderson.
Here.
Conrad.
Present.
Feltus.
Yep.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Colstead.
We have a quorum. A pledge of allegiance tonight was led by Mr. Ben Walsing, who's working on a merit badge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification of posting.
The agenda was posted at City Hall, State Bank of Arcadia, Arcadia TV and appliance in the city website on the 12th of April.
16th.
16th?
Yesterday.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the reorg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll do this reorg first.
Oh, that's the
On that, we have a 5-item agenda and entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, is there a second? By Anderson. Clerk will call the roll.
Feltus.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Public comment in regards to the council appointments. Public comment? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item 3, approval of 2019-20 council appointments that are placed in front. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, second by Mazak. Comments or questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yep.
Motion carries. Future meetings we'll discuss after the next meeting. I don't think we need to adjourn, we can just move on to the next meeting. Public comment for that, I'm guessing there's still no more public comment?
For which one?
The regular meeting?
The blue one?
Yep.
Can I
Sure.
say something?
You bet.
My name is Bob Petch. I just want to bring up the idea that our situation with the recycling hopefully will be revisited in the future. I know it was voted down at this referendum, possibly because we had maybe a little problem with understanding what it was all about, but we definitely, I think, and we think, there's a lot of people that do think, even though it was voted down, that we need to recycle, because what's happening is, and you see it out in the ocean, there's plastic, and we've got all kinds of problems with material that should be recycled and instead of just throwing it into the landfill. So I just want to make sure that the council will consider this again. It's a later date, and we will move on. And we have introduced Mr. Ben Walsing, working on his citizenship, I thought, in the nation, as far as his Eagle track he's going on. He's got to get a certain number of merit badges, and some are related to community as well as nation, as well as world awareness. So that's why he's here, and he did a fine job with the Pledge of Allegiance. I thank him.
Yep. And if he needs any help in the future, Todd, I think the city's been receptive to people on that track, and I think this council will be the same as it was before, of helping in any way we can in programs, whether Park and Rec or the utilities or anything that we can do to help out. Like I said, there's been a lot of good things by Eagle Scout members, so I would continue on that same path.
Thank you.
Yep. We need approval of this agenda, the second one, which is the blue sheet, so entertain a motion to it. Motion by Feltus. Second?
Second.
By Mazak. Clerk will call the roll.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yep.
Feltus.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Any other public comment? Public comment? Since we have some members of the public and some of this stuff is probably not the most fun to sit through, I'd like to move items 8E and 8F. After 7B, we'll open the public hearing, leave that open, and then go to the discussion on the special events for the 2 basketball leagues and the National Guard. Unless they want to sit here through the whole meeting, which I doubt they do. So, number 4A, approval of meeting minutes from April 3rd, 2019, and entertain a
So
motion
moved.
to approve. Motion by Feltus, is there a second?
Second.
By Anderson. Comments or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Yes.
Conrad,
Abstain.
Feltes,
Yes.
Mezek,
Yes.
Sensala.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Item 4B, approval of meeting minutes from April 10th, 2019.
So, second.
Motion by Mezek, second by Feltus. Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Conrad,
Abstain.
Feltes,
Yes.
Mezek,
Yes.
Sensala,
Abstain.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4C, discussion of possible action to authorize mayor to execute U.S. EDA Financial Assistance Award Agreement.
So move.
Motion by Feltus, is there a second?
Second.
By Mezek.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
So let me actually bring this up on the TV so that I have some exhibits for the group.
Thanks. Let's go. Oh, I see how you think. This is, we need to work on these there.
So as this uploads, I will just dive a little bit into the internal drainage project. So as part of the overall larger flood protection project, the city is involved in what I would call two rather large projects. One is the feasibility study for the flood levy, and then two, as part of that, we need to resolve the issue of the internal drainage, storm drainage, pretty much is what it is. So for the storm drainage, we understood that because of the extent of cost for both those projects, the city at that time applied for a grant through the U.S. Economic Development Administration to assist with funding the internal drainage, which includes upgrades to the existing storm sewers. So there's the main lift station right here. I don't know if you can see where that hand is. There is a pump station on Ashley Way, a rather small one. There's a pump station at the Deer Park.
Schultz Park.
Schultz Park? That's
No, that's
Deer Park. Deer Park. And then there is a pump station on the corner of Van Buren and LaShore Street. So we're talking about what would be the south side of Turner Creek, and what would be the east side of the Trempealeau River, and then north side of Myers Valley Creek. So that general area, the downtown area, would be protected as part of this project. So in doing so, the city council did hire Strand to conduct a preliminary engineering analysis as part of the grant application. They put together the proposal, again, which includes upgrades to the pump stations, lift stations, so that they would meet Army Corps specs. These things include things like redundant power, redundant backflow prevention, larger diesel tanks, and that's just a beginning of that list. In addition to that, as part of the proposal, we do have a rather large upgrade to the Van Buren and LaShore Street pump station. Currently, that pump station pumps about 200 gallons per minute. The replacement, we would be constructing a lift station there and installing a pump that would pump approximately 45,000 gallons per minute. Go ahead.
Where are you gonna get that kind of water for that?
Well, let me go on here. So with that pump station, we would lay storm sewer and that would then attach to the city's main storm sewer. And you know, on a normal rain event, we may not have that type of load, but what we're planning, this particular project is would help protect up to the 10-year rainfall event. The engineers did the modeling for this, and even with this, it would not completely eradicate the issue. The reason why this location was picked was because there was an existing pump there, and the engineers did identify that the main issue with internal drainage and the lack of the city's ability to pump water out of the interior area is because there is a bottleneck area right here. So what happens, this is where our main lift station is, and so what happens is all the water that comes down the hill and all the water that's collected on the interior gets, you know, inundates this area and then gets bottlenecked in this area, the area of Harrison and Commercial. And then, so what this would be able to do once connected to the overall system is help relieve the two main pumps at the main lift station. Now, as part of the overall project, we do have adding storm sewer work along North Madison Street to relieve the drainage in this area. This is West Cleveland Street and Madison Street. We have that currently planned if the bids come in properly and there's enough money for it. So this the total budget for this overall internal drainage project, we've estimated at about $5.8 million. With that being said, that US EDA grant would cover 4.3, and then the city would be required to match the remaining amount, which is approximately $1.5 million, for which the city is currently or has proposed to apply for $1 million grant from the Community Development Block Grant Program. And you'll see more information on that later on in the agenda. So with that being said, I'm just going to flip through some slides here. And these are very preliminary. What we wanted to do was get through kind of the initial planning of the project. And then once we knew, which we do now know, that we've received that award from EDA, we'll be going into the details next with Strand. Go ahead.
Yeah, how big of a rain event will our current equipment handle?
I don't know what.
Up to what capacity?
No, I don't wanna know gallons, I wanna know. The only time we can't handle it is when Turton Creek comes over its banks, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
I wouldn't say that. I would say there's standing water out in front of the high school, almost, I bet you there is right now.
Right, but it's really not causing anybody any
But this would
cost.
alleviate all of it.
Yeah,
And
I
any
understand.
water in these backyards that tend to have water in them
So-
the majority of the year.
So there's a couple of points to this. You know, your local everyday street flooding, you know, there's high spots and low spots where if you don't fix the elevation or fix the catch basins, you know, the local issue, you may not be able to get that water to flow properly to this pump. What this is meant to do is be, you know, in a situation where there is a 10-year flood event or 50-year flood event or a 100-year flood event, to be able to assist draining the interior area quicker. And in doing that, it sets up, what it does is this project then sets up to meet the requirements of the Army Corps project. If and when the Army Corps project comes through, we then would not have to upgrade and update our internal drainage system, which adds more cost to that project.
In the Army Corps study, they recognize this as a deficiency. the deficiency of how much water we can pump out of the current lift station. So without removing the train track, which is disruptive to business, because that's all underground, how can we help alleviate stuff that's going into that main lift station? And that's what we had decided.
So instead of putting it back there in the corner way out of, literally almost out of the city, wouldn't it be better to try to get it somewhere a little closer?
Well, we have to pump it into the creek or to the river somehow. So right now,
Well, right there,
most of this
you're-
water is coming down, going into here, however, this is the bottleneck, so then it backs up.
You wanna pump it as short a distance as
So
you can.
here, we can just pump it here, and there's already a pump here.
Well, you're 30 yards from the creek at that point, just pump it that way.
Well, that's what we are.
Yeah.
All this is running down here, then flows this way to the pump and then over into Turkey Creek.
Yeah, you wanna
We're
set
not,
to,
so we're trying to alleviate any,
We're
most
gonna
that's
push it
coming.
the other way.
It's just coming this way.
Where's it pump to now? Does it pump over?
The majority of it
The majority,
comes down Harrison Street
Right.
and then takes a hard left and goes down the Hashley, down by the railroad tracks to the pump station.
By where,
Yeah, I know
And
where
this-
that, I know where
currently
that-
right now,
there's a-
this is
there's a
by
catch
Allied-
basin there. Yeah, I know
By
where that-
Allied in the corner of the school property.
Right.
I'm gonna find a map here, just a minute.
Did the school district
Yes.
finalize the sale of that property?
They approved it.
Cool. We have to buy that little chunk of land where the pump
So
sits.
is that,
It was never deeded.
well, I knew there was a pump there, that's been there for long, I can
very
remember.
little.
Yeah, but is that gonna alleviate like some of the groundwater back in that area? Is that what what this is intended to do?
I'm gonna show you guys a couple of maps here, just 1 minute. So this is the 10-year current. This is a model of the 100-year, the 10-year rainy event. So this is if there was rain right over the city, and we're not talking about a flood on Turn Creek or Myers Valley Creek or the Trumbull River. This is just rain falling onto land. This is the 10-year event. And all the green is a quarter of a foot. The blue, the dark blue, is about 3/4 to a foot. The yellow is 1 to 2 feet. And then the orange is 2 to 3 feet. So you can see in a 10-year event how much water we collect up here in this area right here. And it all the water in this area right here eventually has to make it down to here.
What's that red triangle down here? That's a holding pond, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a
That's a
stormwater
pond.
pond, correct. So that's the 10-year existing, under this proposed plan, this is what would happen. So you can see all that water in this general area clears up, pretty good. I have the,
and it'll reduce the amount of time that water's sitting.
correct, and then, yeah, it would.
Again, which this was a requirement from the Corps to do, so we decided to split this in 2 separate projects. So we could actually get US EDA grant funding, which, what around $8 million, $8.5 million?
The total pot was 8.7
And the city of Arcadia got 4.3 of it, between the states of Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, I believe, Minnesota maybe.
So this is another map. This is the 100-year rain event, and you can see the same areas pretty much with more water. And this is under the current proposed project. This is what happens. So in the 100-year event, it's not as effective, obviously, because there's more water, and your pump's only going to be able to pump enough, 45,000 gallons per minute.
Are you sure it's 45,000 or 4,500?
45,000.
That seems like awful big pump.
Where?
45,000 gallons a minute.
45,000 gallons per minute is the same as one of our pumps at our main lift station.
Yeah, the newest ones.
The newest ones. We have 2 of those, and I believe we have 230.
Yeah. Are they putting any new pumps in down there?
They are not. That pump, so the Corps had studied that, and our initial response that we received is that, or and that Strand has taken a look at, is we have the capacity down there to pump the water as necessary. It's how do you get the water there?
And any of this project isn't gonna get any more water to that point, is it?
No. What it does is it lessens that bottleneck, the amount of load at the beginning of that bottleneck.
I think not during the last rain event, it took us,
You mean when
Six-
Turton Creek come over?
like, yeah, I said non-rain event, 16 or 18 hours to really start to see, you know, that it was going down, say by Fastenal. So I think that's always a good measuring stick.
That was 18 hours?
What came over at 2 in the morning, and it was 3, 4 before, you know, there was still water standing there, which this will help alleviate some of that.
Oh.
It's not gonna remove it.
Okay, thank you.
I am.
Any more questions? Alright, I'm gonna flip through some of this stuff. So this is just, the main lift station. It just identifies some areas where the improvements will be. Again, this is very general at this point.
And some of the improvements are redundant powers, number 1, and backflow, preventing backflow.
So going,
Which are requirements of the, Army Corps.
this is the Ashley Way pumps. So things that they're looking are improvements to like trash racks, adding stop logs, that's the redundant backflow prevention, upgrading piping, upgrading the discharge flap gate, control panels.
Is the 60-inch pipe that runs with parallel with the railroad tracks, is there any replacement there, or
There's no,
do we know what condition that's in?
we don't. We've asked our operations department to televise that.
Gary, do you know anything? How?
I know it's
Since
half
you're
full
here.
of, it's half full of crud, and I think the pipe integrity is pretty good though. Yep, I don't know of any rusty spots or anything like that.
We did have an issue with a break in that main line, and we had that remedied, I think 2 years ago now.
Where was that?
Like Turtle Street maybe?
Yeah. It was up in this area,
Okay,
by Harrison.
That was concrete.
It's galvanized.
This is the dare part. And then this would be the new lift station. That's hard to see, but that's the new lift station at the Shore Street location.
but Mayor, I should repeat that, it's half full of crud. I think cleaning that out, have it professionally cleaned, would give you lots of capacity.
Thanks, Gary.
Wouldn't it be in groundwater all the time, that half of it anyhow? So where would you really gain capacity?
The pipe, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sealed, so it should be, you know, it's sealed, it should be flushable, so to speak.
Dirt.
I thought that was a
sand.
perf pipe.
There's
I
holes
thought
in
that
it.
was perf.
There is.
So it wouldn't,
Not there, it is on Madison from the lower fire station down towards actually that section there is, but not this big one.
So this is more, some more detail in regards to that pump, and then connecting it to the main sewer system. Now the sewer,
Storm.
the storm sewer, along this section would be undersized for this pump. And we have currently in talks with the county to redo County J. And when they do reconstruct County J, will be the time that the city will go in and add the proper size storm sewer. So that is currently on the radar. Questions? So that is all I have for this in regards to this project. Again, the notice of award, we do have to return within 30 days of us receiving it, and I believe we received it on April 12th. There are conditions for which we will have to meet, most of them revolving around reporting and moving forward with certain permits that we need to get, approvals that we need to get, particularly from NEPA, which is environmental, the U.S. Army Corps, SHPO, which is the historic preservation. So we are working through that. As part of this project, as you can see, will occupy approximately 0.4 acres of school property for which we have the city approved it and offered a purchase, and the school board did approve it at their meeting last night, which includes an easement to get us to this point here.
When will this work begin?
Wow. So as far as timeline, the city needs to meet with U.S. Economic Development for a meeting in May here. We're gonna need to finalize all of the documents. That probably will take us until, and finalize the engineering plans. Most likely will take us till middle of summer, end of summer. The plan is to first do it over 2 years. The first year will be to improve the lift stations and the large lift station. The second phase into the second year would be the storm sewers. If everything goes according to plan and we don't run into any hiccups, I would think that the construction, at least the improvements to the lift stations, would start later this year, end of this year.
As you can see in the packet, the total amount of the project's $5,885,300, a grant award of $4,327,000. Local match of roughly $1.5 million, and of that, we're
Correct.
applying for a CDBG grant of $1 million, which would leave the city with a little over $558. Yeah, $558.
Now the caveat to that is that if the city does sign this agreement, we are on the hook for that. So if we do not get the CDBG money, then those dollars, the $1.5 million, would have to be borrowed for.
Correct.
Ruth Street, below Gillespie, that parking lot, so this would alleviate some of that water down there. Cause there's so much
Correct.
big rains and heavy rains, there's cars that are underwater in that spot, so
Correct.
this would help that, right?
Correct.
Questions? Comments? So get a motion in a second to approve. Clerk will call the roll.
Feltes,
Yes.
Mezek,
Yes.
Sensala,
Yeah.
Anderson,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Board and commission updates? None this evening. Department updates, none scheduled. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for the block grant for the internal drainage system, which Bill just discussed, and a comprehensive housing study that we'd like to do, but we have to have a public hearing. So this time, I'll just open the public hearing in regards to those two things, and we'll move on to item 8E, discussion of possible action on special events applications for the summer 2019 basketball leagues.
So, we have received, 2 initial applications for, basketball league tournaments on both, similar events, so 2 separate event holders or organizers. On Sunday from approximately May to approximately September, October. It would occupy the park basketball court from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock p.m. We're at an initial application at this point, considering that both events are similar in nature, which would require some garbage services. In the past, we've assisted in porta potties. The same services would apply for both leagues. Before we move forward and start collecting fees towards the event, we would like to understand, get some direction from council. Do we want both those groups to submit a full application and the fees? Part of that is obtaining the proper insurance documents and insurance coverage, which costs money. And then for council to consider that after receiving the full application, do we want to make a decision on which group to move forward with at this point? And then the other option is to not have a basketball league on Sundays. So staff, we're looking for some kind of direction here. We can definitely go in any direction that you would like us to go in.
Number one, group one, I'll call them group one, group two, group one.
And we have them here. So.
Okay, you guys are from both groups, right? Nope, just group one? Just from group one, you guys are all together?
You guys all together?
No, they're
No.
different ones.
Okay.
I'm group
So
one.
group one has used it, I'll just call it group one, has used it year after year, the last 2 years, 3, 4 years. Group two I spoke with, probably back in January. My assumption was, because they changed leadership, each group changes leadership every year, was my assumption that group two was group one, was just new leadership. And we discussed using the park, using the basketball court, which I don't have an issue with. My assumption was it was group one. So now we have 2 applicants for the same Sundays.
Well, can we move one to Saturday? That way they can both use it?
I think the only issue with Saturdays is, people work. There's a lot of people that still work on Saturdays, and garbage pickup, porta potties, making sure they're clean for the next day, stuff like that.
Parking for the pavilion.
Yeah, pavilion parking if there's other events, which, that's a separate entity, but, there still could be softball tournaments or something on a Saturday.
What?
Would be an issue.
Is there another court we could let them use? I'm assuming it's basketball, correct?
Correct.
What about the Violet Hanson Park? Isn't there a court there?
There's a court there, but I think running a tournament, do you guys need 2 courts or 1 court? 2 courts.
We need 2 courts,
2 courts.
both on the park. Last year we used them both. We had 20 men's teams and 10 female teams.
30 teams.
30 teams, and we use them on both
Both
courts.
courts. Okay. And then you got spectators too.
And now this year I don't know how many teams we can expect, but
Okay.
So what you're saying is part of the group broke off and are doing their own?
No. It's just a completely different group.
I don't know. It's like last year we were two groups. We work with on the basketball league, and now this year I think they wanna make another league, but I don't know. I understand why, but they never. I don't know if they do their own or own work.
How many
or
teams
work.
are in their league?
Yeah, and actually, all the same team is for the same people. So even if we got two leagues, are the same teams. So it'd be split, split. If I don't know who team's gonna go with which leagues, but
Could you alternate weekends?
I mean, that would be an option, is one plays one weekend, one plays the next weekend. So you play every other weekend. Again, I apologize, I thought I was talking to the same group, so I will take some of the blame then.
but I don't know if they want, we can work together. And
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go. Is if you guys have the
I have
same
no
team,
problem. We work
Yeah.
together. Last year we worked with another bunch of people. It's the same league, but we work as different like different community. So, but I don't know why they wanna do by themselves, and we went working together. And but I have no problem working together. But it's except them, they wanna work with us.
Maybe, you guys have an idea, one?
De que algo que vamos a trabajar juntos.
Yo le estoy diciendo que como hemos venido trabajando, ellos piensan que son dos grupos diferentes, están pensando de que si nos dan un fin de semana o en las canchas, pero prácticamente son los mismos equipos que vamos del mismo. Entonces yo le estoy comentando a ellos que si quieren trabajar juntos, trabajamos juntos, pero como ustedes vean, o ellos van a decidir cómo van a hacer si un domingo, pero para mí se mira difícil porque pues prácticamente son los mismos equipos. Entonces,
So, what I would recommend is
We
maybe
get
take
representatives,
yeah,
maybe
get
from-
representatives of
From
both.
both groups,
and then we
maybe
can-
meet within the next week to 10 days.
Yeah, that way we can have both groups talking to each other, and we can kind of figure it out and bring it back to council. I know they wanted to start the basketball games in May, but that may be pushed back until we figure this out.
Right, I mean, I think that's the best way to move about it, if we can all work together.
Well, I can talk to them right now. We can because we need time to plan all the things. So if we can take a decision today, it'd be perfect.
I mean, as long as they're okay with that. I mean, I just, you guys are different parties here, and want to make sure that.
We need somebody here to tell us what they're saying.
Right, well, he can I think he was explaining to them what we were talking about.
If they're okay, I mean, if
Well,
they're
wait,
okay and the council's
yeah.
already okay with.
Well, this is the thing, all right, if you guys can meet sit down with Bill, maybe we have an idea of, if we can figure it out, we can give them a preliminary before we meet the first week in May, that they can start to play, that we're gonna approve their application. You know, pending they come up with an agreement between it. Is that agreeable between all of us? You know, instead of holding them up
Yeah,
playing
pending they come up with an agreement between themselves.
and the city.
Yeah, we got a question on that.
So I have a question. Does this application mean that they're only playing up there on Sundays? Because they're up there 24 hours a day every
It's
single
just an
day.
organized league.
Okay.
It'd be like having a softball league on the softball fields, but kids get together and play softball up there all the
So ustedes
Or
están de
not,
acuerdo en
pero-
trabajar
Sure.
juntos, podemos trabajar juntos.
Organized.
Y para que ellos tomen una
But
decisión,
in
¿no?
our
Y
numbers, right.
nos van a citar otra vez
Right.
para platicar si podemos trabajar juntos o no, o separarnos. Pero es difícil cuando nada
Bill,
más
does that
es-
make sense
es
to you?
un
Yeah,
solo lugar.
so I can, if we can meet next week sometime, bring in both parties, and then we can go through that.
Then we kinda have an agreement here that as long as there's, no issues between you guys, that, we can still start to play basketball as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's never been an issue before. Like I know this basket league they make for different parties and different people, and we're trying to work together. So I mean, all the money is for the same people, and they go for the good things. all the leg we do, all the money we get, all this go to Mexico. So because in Mexico, we need a lot of help, and sometimes we wanna do ourselves because we think we're gonna get more money. But if we can work together, I think it's gonna be better. But I'm okay with that. I don't know about them.
So I'll reach, I think Carmen translates for them,
Mhm.
so I'll reach out to Carmen Gosowski, talk to her about meeting next week. I'll reach out to you and get that scheduled too, so. I think that's the best way to do it, because I feel like, you know,
We want all the
We
groups
want
to be happy,
everybody to
and
work
not to
together.
speak for all of you guys, right?
Well, yeah, you can't make sides.
Bill, can we just schedule that meeting when Lindy's available to help?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. All good. Item 8F, discussion of possible action on special events application for the National Guard exercise.
So we received a request from the National Guard
Thank you, guys.
to utilize the two south fields of
Memorial Park, I'm just gonna bring that up here.
Yeah, my Google Earth or Maps wasn't looked at my Gov computer, so the phone image I gave you wasn't the greatest.
I'll pull it up here. So the National Guard would like on May 13th in the morning, would like to land 4 or 5 Black Hawk helicopters for an exercise that they have ongoing. I can let Sergeant First Class Kambinski talk more about the plans there. But an application was submitted for a special event. The services requested from the city are minimal. I did reach out to each department head to see if there are any concerns, and there are not. The Army National Guard has offered to post their personnel at locations to provide a perimeter if needed. And then any more detail than that, I think Justin will have to give that.
Sure.
So the two fields that we're talking about are, would be this field here, and then this field here, and in the map that he did provide me, they did have, there's some streetlights here that are marked out. That is for the tractor pull.
Yeah, so basically we'll just walk down from the armory, and we have about 100 soldiers that will be attending our annual training. And then when we get to the actual park, we'll get there about 9:45. The birds will land around 10:00. Looking at 5 birds, they basically told us the amount of room that we have, they'll be able to accommodate those birds. If we don't have enough room for 5 birds, so one Black Hawk takes 50 meters radius diameter to land it. And so that's what I was looking at both fields as well. And then the obstacles, obviously, like the light pole and stuff. And I sent that same diagram to our aviation department. They basically land, they shut down, we do cold load training, we get on the bird, their crew chief and pilots come off, make sure all our soldiers know how to load, unload, don't run into rotors, those kinds of things. And then they fire them back up, jump on the birds. We're going to have 80 soldiers fly down, 10 per bird, so it would be 50 on the first lift. They fly back, get around back to us around 1100. It's a 20-minute flight from Arcadia to Fort McCoy. And then the other 30 jump on the bird. The other 20 that we have besides that won't be flying, we can have them posting just in case someone wants to use the field or something. We can make sure that they're not going to get land on or anything. And then once we leave at noon, that's it. That's the end of the exercise that we'll need out of Arcadia, and then we continue on to Fort McCoy.
So, I mean, would you want to keep this is fine to keep open, or would you rather have that closed as well?
It's really
you're
not-
gonna have there's gonna be a bunch of rubberneckers.
Sure, yeah.
Guaranteed.
We can
I'm not
expect that
saying-
too. Especially after the first set of birds, if people start
People
coming.
will start driving. You know, I don't know if we could close it here, and obviously this, I wouldn't hold them up. I'd close on both ends.
And they do kick up a lot of dust. And actually, I forgot to give you this. It's just something acknowledging that I can read it off. Acknowledges the potential environmental impacts of landing a helicopter at the site, such as noise nuisance, rotor wash, may blow loose items, sand, dirt, and gravel, or tear up grass, and small amounts of fuel and or oil may be left behind. So generally, like the fuel oil, they're helicopters, so we try not to have issues like that because you're in the air. But they do blow up plenty of dust. So any vehicles that are parked along there, they're going to get coated. Probably not something that's going to damage the vehicle, but it will be an issue for them.
I mean, we can have, I think we can just have our street department close it at the walk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
on a Saturday? Yeah,
it's a
Monday.
It's a Monday.
Monday from 10 till noon.
So I had talked to Raleigh, and what we would probably do is close off Golden Plump Road, and then even close off Memorial Park Drive, and the walking path there. I think that the trees give enough barrier between Soldiers Walk and the operation. But then, we talked to Eva. There's no wreck in that area that morning. She's well aware, so she'll plan around that. PD does not have an issue with it. Fire does not have an issue with it. Electric, there are no power lines in that area. Everything is underground. Again, the only things to look out for are those street lights, those lights. And I think otherwise we should be good to go there.
Questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
I'll second.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Other comments, questions?
Yeah, I wanna go for a ride.
Bill, are we gonna talk about the fee waiver as well?
Oh yeah, so as a government agency, the National Guard is requesting for a fee waiver for the $100 that we have set as the fee for the application.
So move.
But okay with the motion and the second,
I'm
we
good,
just
yeah.
had that in that original motion. Well, Joe, get in shape over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can see
Shape.
your yards.
These are just
They'll bring
Blackhawks,
that one in
not-
with the two meters on it.
They're not Hueys.
They're a little bigger than Hueys, I think, aren't they?
I'm sure we can get you recruited.
Are you sure?
There's some guys that figure out a way.
You're gonna have to disclose your age now.
I don't think so, I'm kinda handicapped.
Not just in your legs.
Hey,
I didn't say it, I was thinking it.
revenge is sweet.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yep.
Feltes.
Yep.
Motion carries.
You're good to go. I'll send you a letter with the permit stating that it's been approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Dustin. Thanks, people. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
So we'll go on to, I guess, item 8A.
Do we wanna come back to the public hearings first?
Oh, do you wanna close them, or is there?
I have presentations that I have to
Okay.
go through.
Go ahead. 7A. This is the community public hearing in regards to the block grant application for the internal drainage.
Need a motion?
No,
It's a public hearing, so I have to go through this public hearing,
it's a requirement for the state
application.
for us to do this.
So, what we're gonna go through here today is, so the CDBG program, what it is, requirements of it, the limits as far as available funding, the match ratios, and then an explanation again into what the project, what the funds are intended for, and then asking questions and having discussions around any potential housing, fair housing issues for which the program centers itself around, and then any lack of community facilities that may be potential issues.
Before you continue on, maybe Fritz and Silver, is it okay if I call you guys that? I'm just asking.
I'm fine.
Maybe over the next week to meet up with Bill, about an hour, even just a half hour, just to go through all the projects, maybe even you, Paul, because we have a big solar project kind of in the works right now. we have internal drainage, we have the Army Corps project going on, we have a well project going on. Just to Gaffney Road project, you know, just to kind of get a brief and bring you guys up to speed. I know you both have been on the council before, Paul and that, but
Gaffney Road, that's not even a city street, is it?
he can explain,
Yeah.
Bill can explain to you just because it's not on the agenda, but. To bring you guys up to speed in regards to all the projects, so. Maybe spend some time, and at least you'll know where you're at.
Alright. So I have on the agenda here two different presentations. Both the presentations will somewhat cover some similar information until we start talking about the project itself. So the Community Development Block Grant is provided, the funds are provided through the Department of Housing and Urban Development on the federal level. It comes through the Wisconsin Department of Administration. When it does come through the Wisconsin Department of Administration, it does lose its federal status. That's why we can use it as a match, matching pool towards the USEDA grant. So the goal of the program is to develop viable communities by providing decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons of low to moderate income. So there are 3 different national objectives for which a city may qualify for a CDBG grant, and that is through low to moderate income, the prevention and elimination of slum and blight, and then if there is an urgent local need. If you remember back to Myers Valley Creek, that's the category we qualified under for that project, which has changed drastically now. So this year, the Public Facilities Program has approximately $10 million available in funding. It is a competitive application process. The match ratio has been increased. Previously it was 1-to-1 and up to $500,000. It is now 2-to-1, up to $1 million. So for every dollar we spend, they will spend 2. The eligible activities you can see there mostly have to do with structural improvements and construction. So things like the storm sewer and the lift stations do qualify as an eligible project. Things like engineering costs associated with it, our admin costs, are not eligible to be paid for by the grant dollars, but can be considered as matched. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions on the slides. I will stop at the end of the presentation to ask for questions also. So in regards to the application process, we had to first make sure that we qualified for a national objective, for which we do currently, because our low to moderate income percentage in the city of Arcadia has increased. That is now 55.79, and that data is pulled right off of the Housing and Urban Development website. And so you need to be over 51% to qualify under this objective, and you can see there is got a 0.6 margin of error. The application includes the application packet, which requires things like this hearing. There will be a second hearing if we do get accepted, and that is to the construction, during the construction phase. There are things like a fair housing ordinance, for which we have, anti-displacement policies, for which we have, excessive use of force policies, for which we have. And then as part of the application, there are things that the mayor will need to sign off on, including statements of assurances and then lobbying certificates. And then as part of the application process, and a part of this hearing, we need to identify to see if there will be any residential or business displacement that would happen because of this project, and as proposed, there will not be. So one of the key items that needs to be covered by this presentation is identifying the certain housing needs related to this project. And going through that, staff has identified that overall the city needs more low to moderate income housing, senior housing and workforce housing. We did not conduct a formal study, and we'll get into that in a bit here. But you know, that type of housing is kind of seen, you know, in the general downtown area, which is impacted, as we've seen in the past, by flooding, and then those flooding areas lead to other issues, and then in addition to that, the city staff will need to continue to look for fair housing opportunities and work with the community players in making sure that fair housing opportunities are available. Again, that's a core foundation of this funding project. Now at this time, kind of like to open it up to everyone who is here in attendance to see if there are any other housing issues that we can identify. Something that we can provide to the CDBG group and see if there's any assistance in regards to our housing needs. No? Going once, going twice. So with that being said, we also need to identify some community needs. As we went through the project, again, we identified a number of public facilities that are at risk from flooding. That includes City Hall here, the police department, the public library, or the existing public library, the recreation center, the electric substation, and the power plant, our main sanitary sewer lift station, our number of storm lift stations and pump stations, our parks in the downtown area, and then we have a school here. Anything that we missed as far as public facilities?
Fire station.
Fire station. And then, as you all know, a large part of our downtown is in the floodplain here, and so our entire downtown business district is at risk of flooding. Any other comments on facilities in the downtown area? Okay. So this is just a review of the project scope. It's projected that if we do receive the funds from CDBG, that the majority of, if not all of it, will go towards this lift station. The reason for that is that lift station has the highest cost to it, and it makes our lives on the administrative side and financial side to have all the funding go towards one part of the project instead of trying to split it out and keeping the ratios equal. So we currently have it in the application proposed to go towards this project. Good. You have a question?
No, I was just.
Okay.
Sorry.
I saw your hand go up. A lot of stuff, right? And then again, talking about the complete project scope, for which the CDBG funding will go towards, again, upgrades to the various lift station and pump stations, and improvements to the sewer the sewer lines, primarily along Van Buren and County J, crossing that intersection at Main Street. And then if the bids come in well, if there's money available on North Madison Street. So again, in regards to displacement, we don't anticipate that there will be any displacement from this project. The city currently owns or have the rights to construct the improvements on the current property. Again, in regards to the school property, we did go through the voluntary acquisition process, which is required by the Uniform Relocation Act, which is a federal regulation in Wisconsin. It's required that we provide basic notice to the property owners of their rights under eminent domain, and notice to them in regards to the fair market offer. We did provide that offer, and they did accept that yesterday, and so we are working to get to closing on that, hopefully before May 24th. Again, no anticipated residential or business displacements. With that being said, I'll take any overall questions or discussion about the project or about the program.
Jason brought to my attention that the public entities you're talking about during a flood that may be impacted would be the sanitary lift station. Probably actually.
Yep, that was.
I think it was on there.
Yeah, I
Was it?
think it
Okay.
was, I didn't know what it was called, so when you said that, yeah.
So if there are no questions, bear with me, we have to get through one more public hearing here.
Yeah, that's one question, Bill.
Go ahead.
What's you've been doing this for a while on CBDG grants, what is your thoughts on the overall likelihood of this? I know it has to check certain boxes typically to do that.
So the most important thing is that we have a complete and accurate application. If we don't have that, because it's a competitive application, now if you break down the $10 million, $1 million to each project, only 10 communities are going to get this grant. So it's a lot more competitive than what it used to be. You know, we scored pretty good on our last application for well number 7. The scoring is broken down by how much, you know, what the low to moderate income is. It's broken down by the medium housing prices, taxes, you know, how high is your tax ratio. You know, and there's a number of other things, and then they score the urgent need of the project. You know, how much, you know, how many other players are in there, how long have you planned for it? So we've been fortunate that in the number of plans that we do have, particularly a comprehensive plan and the floodplain management plan, we specifically identified this project as something that the city would like to move forward towards. It meets the Mississippi River Regional Commission, Planning Commission's agenda and plan. So I reached out to them, and they provided us with a letter of recommendation. So I personally feel that we would score decent on this. Now, in saying that, I can't necessarily guarantee that we're going to receive it, but it is my intention to put together the strongest application that we can.
You have visibility on the competing projects?
I don't, no. So the only way that we do know that, and even at that point, I mean, CDBG, or the Department of Administration, requires you to attend a training in regards to the application process, and they had 2 different ones or 3 different ones. Angela attended one and I attended one. When I attended, I think there were 30 other communities that attended, or 30 other people that attended. Some of those communities are communities, some of those were contractors, engineering firms. So I'm expecting that you've probably seen about the same amount of people in your training.
I did it via webinar, so I don't really know how many.
So there are a number of communities. The interesting thing about this year is that the low to moderate income numbers from HUD came out, I believe, 2 days before the training that I went to, and there are some pretty big changes in regards to who now qualifies for low to moderate income and who doesn't. So a lot of before that, the numbers were from 2010. So we went from 50.48% where at that time we did not qualify to 55.79, and now we've passed that threshold and we qualify. If you remember back to the Wells 7 project, we had to conduct our own income survey to qualify at that point. I know communities that had been expecting to qualify for this no longer qualify for it. So the project, say for example, if they applied in 2018 and they didn't get the project and they were planning to apply again in 2019, and now they don't qualify because of the low to moderate income, they're in a very tough spot. And I know of a couple communities that are in that situation. But to answer your question, I don't know how many communities out there are applying.
Will you be here to complete the application and get all that part of it done?
Yeah, so that's the urgency here. So the competitive application has a deadline of May 17th, and after we get through the things that we need to get through here, I do have this application completed. I'll pass it to Angela and the mayor and the city attorney to review before we submit it, but we should be close to that. The next public hearing that I jump into is a non-competitive grant application process. That's the planning grant. That one they take year round. That one I'm more optimistic that we'll receive that one. So.
Any other questions in regards to item 7A? This time I'll close the public hearing for that one. Bill, do you want to move on to 7B? And again, these public hearings are a requirement that we have to do them. I know they're a lot of fun.
They are for me.
At least we have 3 members of the public here.
So this is the first community participation hearing for the application for the planning application. This is under the same CDBG program from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, administered again to the Department of Administration. You can see the same goals there and the same national objectives. Under this grant application, we would again be qualifying under the low to moderate income. Now, the way that it works with community development block grants are that there are different columns of grants. Right off the top of my head, planning grants, there are public facilities grants, there are economic development grants, revolving loan funds. You can qualify for each of those under the same objective. You cannot qualify for like 2 planning grants, for example. 2 grants within the same subject. So in this program, there is actually only a max award of $50,000. The match ratio again is 2 to 1. So things like comprehensive plan, project plans, community development plans. I believe the city had qualified for this planning grant in 2011 for the downtown improvement plan. So here we would be proposing a comprehensive citywide housing study, and that as we get on to the rest of this presentation, to assist in identifying specific projects. Since I've started here, I've always heard that Arcadia needs more housing, but going to like a financial business or going to a developer or property owner and making that argument is hard to do without something like a study. And again, qualifying under the low to moderate income objective at 55.79%. Things in the application packet for the planning grant are the same things that are required under the public facilities grant. Actually, less items. And then, again, this project, because it is a study at this point, doesn't anticipate any residential or business displacement. So in regards to housing needs, some of the same things come up, lower and moderate income housing, senior housing, workforce housing. Again, the flooding impact in the downtown area, housing stock, fair housing and other opportunities, and then something that was not put on here, but future expansion. We understand that there's a lack of employees or employment there's a surplus of employment opportunities, a lack of employees. Any other housing issues that we may want to particularly address in this study?
I got one question.
Yep.
Where I live, I don't even see that show up on any of the studies. Yet all those houses are flooded.
So you're talking about like the floodplain map? Yeah, so the floodplain map is conducted by FEMA. And they do that every, I want to say, decade or so.
You're not in floodplain yet?
We just started it.
Yeah, so I know that they conducted one in 2011, and before that was 1994, I believe. And so when they do that, keep in mind that as far as the accuracy of it, I don't know how accurate they are. I don't know if they have actual boots on ground or if they're using elevations from LiDAR.
But just in terms of housing and housing available,
Mhm.
some of those places are getting to be almost not sellable again because of the
Correct.
water damage and stuff, so we're gonna lose housing if anything.
Correct.
Right.
Right. That's a good point. So loss of housing from flooding issues, or loss of housing in general.
I'd like to hear more about that. I mean, what it is. The water in the basement.
Yeah.
Cindy Haynes' house is full of water in the basement. You know where she lives, in that corner, kitty corner from the church.
Yeah, most of the houses had water being pumped out.
No, I'll water all year round.
I don't.
You're lucky. Keep an electric utility in business by paying for electricity to pump for groundwater out.
Thanks. Tim Boyd says thanks, but I'll answer for it.
All the houses around me do. All the houses around me do. too.
Keep going, though.
So next we'll jump into the community development needs. So obviously with the number, depending on the number of housing that we have that directly impacts the population, things like government services, we've talked previously about, City Hall and the need for new City Hall. Police services, library and recreation services, impact to schools, need, as we found out tonight, more parks, basketball courts, etc. The impact of housing to transportation, and that's automobiles, that's pedestrian traffic, that's bike lanes, and then paying attention to our utilities. So the electric grid, sanitary sewer, wastewater systems, and water system, gas system. At what time do we, depending on the housing pressure, at what time do we need to start thinking about those utilities and improving or expanding those services? Any comments or additional community development needs that can be identified? Okay, so this is my last slide here. So the activity funded by this CDBG project is the comprehensive housing study itself. We estimate that the study will cost right around $30,000. For that, we're hoping to fundraise for the city's match. The Economic Development Committee does have set aside $5,000 for this, and then in hopes of covering the remaining $5,000 to $10,000 to get to $10,000 to match the $20,000 to get to 30. Again, this housing study we're hoping would help identify housing needs, which leads to you know, multiple different housing opportunities and assist in employment, transportation, safety, recreation, and business commercial improvement planning. So that is the objective here. And that's just my contact information. Questions or discussions at all?
It's pretty simple. Close the item 7B, we'll close the public hearing for the comprehensive housing study and move on to item 8A, discussion of possible action to adopt resolution 2019-5, authorizing a resolution for the submission of the community development block grant application for the public facilities.
So moved.
Was that by you? Motion by Fritz.
Second.
I felt it. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's okay.
Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8. All of these motions are in regards to what the public hearing was. Item 8B, discussion of possible actions to adopt resolution 2019-6, authorizing a resolution to commit match funds for the public facilities.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Comments or questions?
So I just want to break down that cost or the budget scenario for that. So we're proposing of a $5.9 million project, the 4.3 from EDA, the $1 million from CDBG, and then the city will cover the rest either through general fund or some kind of short-term borrowing.
Got a motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Motion carries. 8C, discussion of possible action to adopt resolution 2019-7, authorizing a resolution for the submission of the community development block grant application for housing.
So moved.
plans.
Second.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Comments or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8D, discussion of possible action to adopt resolution 2019-8, authorizing a resolution to commit matching funds to the planning.
So moved.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8E and 8F we've already gone through. Item 9, bills and general account. Item A, approval of the Arcadia School District pay request of $466.07.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Just so you guys know, this is in regards to the public library. Going in the new Wannick Center. We get a breakdown every month, and Bill can kind of go through that too, if you guys got, I think, a half hour pop in here. It's kind
Yeah,
of nice
I can
how it's broken
explain
down, and how we get where we get, what we get.
How long is Bill here in the evenings?
May 24th.
No, in the evenings.
Oh, in the evenings. I can be here as long as you want me to.
That was a loaded question for Fritz.
Well, no, but I would
No,
like to
right.
come and see you. Like,
Yeah, why don't you give me a call and let me know what day works best for you?
But a Friday I could be here by 3. Would that be enough time by your normal quitting?
Yeah, that would be,
Okay,
not this Friday.
we'll do it another Friday.
It's Good Friday this Friday.
Every Friday is good.
Fritz will be in church anyway, so.
Yeah, you will.
Sitting right next to me, Fred, huh?
Right?
But I really think it'd be useful, like a half hour, just to kind of bring you guys up to speed
Absolutely.
on the projects. So we had a motion and a second on that, I believe, or not?
Yep.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mezek.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Motion carries. 9B, I don't think we had one, did we?
We do. This pay request, we knew it was coming in, but they didn't, have a hard copy because Lance was at a meeting last week. So that came in Monday morning. It is pay request number 7 in the amount of $22,479.64.
What was it again, 22 what?
$22,479.64.
So moved.
Motion by Feltes, is there a second?
Second.
By Mazak. Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 9C, as you can see in the packets, we give these packets out, try to get them out every Friday before Wednesday's meeting. The packet has each bill included in there. And then if there's any credit cards, usually those are listed separately on a separate sheet. So you guys have them. So we all approve them together. I know previously it was 3 people would get together and then the other 3 to review the bills, but we do them this way every 6. If you have 5 days, if you have comments, questions, contact Angela and she can explain each bill. But if you need to have it explained here, so be it. So approval of bills in general account of $173,692.36.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve. Motion by Feltes. Is there a second?
Second.
By Anderson. Comments or questions? So again, if you have questions beforehand, reach out to staff. If you have them the night of, feel free to holler that night as well.
That's on anything on that
Yeah,
job.
anything. That's why we have them, thinking them out 5 days in advance.
And we gotta pick these up here.
You can either get them by email, if you like email. It'll be set up on your Chromebook, which Bill can set up for you guys. When you get them, you get a copy. Otherwise, if you want a paper copy, they can print them. You let them know, give them a call, they can have it ready for you. You don't have to wait for it. But yeah, if you want to stop Friday on your way home from work, you can have it for weekend reading.
Right.
Better than the morning paper. Yours comes out the afternoon. Yours is a Wednesday afternoon paper.
Oh,
You're off to.
sorry for the interruption.
Clerk will call the roll.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 10A, operator licenses. We have one this evening. Entertain a motion to approve.
As, or pending background checks. So
Motion
moved.
by Feltes. Is there a second?
Who is it?
Bonnie Joe Tuma. Should be on the, it's on the last page there, folks.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Right here.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be the oddest one for a motion to die because of a second for an operator license.
It would be nice to know where they're applying or where they're gonna work,
I don't think we
or can't
we
we
don't
do that by
currently
law?
ask, because some people
It's,
apply.
I mean, if they put it on the application, we can put that on the summary. It's not a,
Would just be nice to know where, because like this person, I have no idea who she is or what she's, you know.
I don't see a reason why we.
Yeah, you could go stumbling into a bar and there she'd be.
I don't drink, so we got that
Clerk
problem.
will call the roll.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 10B, I can see the fire department applied earlier this year.
No special
They
meeting.
were a little reminded.
Last year we had to squeeze her in there quick. Fire department permit, picnic permit for May 4th through the 5th.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Feltes, second by Conrad. Clerk will call the roll. This is for their fireman's dance at the Lions Pavilion.
Mezek.
Yes.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Motion carries. 10C, picnic permit for the Lions Club.
So moved.
Memorial Day weekend. Motion by Feltes, second by Conrad.
I
Questions?
just want to mention that we are currently negotiating with the Lions Club in regards to the special event agreement. And we're hopeful to have that
The next
concluded
meeting.
pretty soon.
Clerk will call the roll.
Sensala.
Yep.
Anderson.
Yep.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
carries. Item 11, regular meetings scheduled for Wednesday, May 1st, right here at 5 o'clock. Mr. Conrad had said something about maybe moving it out or him being a little late just because of during paving season, so it's just something maybe that we want to keep on our radar. I always like to have him at 5. He's agreeable to that. He said he said he might be a little late, just to keep staff moving, and you still have a bunch of the evening. I typically like to have the meetings done within 2 hours. Sometimes we've ran longer. It's very rare, but we meet every other week, so we can always try to shuffle stuff around, just because we all know we have other stuff going on outside of this, whether it's our own activities or kids' activities. Staff has the same thing, so. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, second by Mazak. Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yep.
Mazak.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yep.